Okay, well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Public Practice Accountants Club on Clubhouse, where public practitioner thought leaders, industry specialists, and accountants just like you discuss hot topics in public practice and how they go about navigating the public practice landscape all around the world. So fundamentally, public practice has the same principles, dynamics, challenges no matter where we are in the world. We might have different tax seasons, busy periods, and legislation, but at the core, we are very much the same. So, our room this morning is we're talking about how to get the most out of your team. I'll introduce myself very quickly this morning. Good morning. I'm Linda Steffens, and I think I definitely know everybody in the Clubhouse room this morning, but I am an accountant and author and an introvert, and I've been hanging around public practice now for just on 30 years. And what I do now is I educate and coach accountants, helping them to transition advisory services into their businesses. But of course, I have my amazing co-host with me this morning, Kyelie Baxter. Good morning, Kyelie. I'm well, thank you. Oh, yes. Ah. What a great insight, Kyelie. I love that take on that because, funnily enough, guess what? I am also a first child. So interesting, isn't it? But for those of you that are listening to us in Clubhouse, navigating around Clubhouse, pretty cool. You can network in there as well. So check out who's listening, who's around. You might like to follow them, or if you're not in the groups, follow the groups. We do have replays in Clubhouse now, so you can go back and listen to previous topics if you would like to. They're just sitting under the Public Practice Accountants Club, and we are an official CPA Queensland discussion group. So you most certainly can put down your CPD and CPE points, which is an extra bonus. All right. So just a very quick reminder as we kick off the conversation this morning that, of course, we have an intention to always be positive, supportive, and collaborative as we come together in support of our amazing industry. Oh, one other thing, if you would like to speak to us at any point during the discussion, we would love to hear from you and pose your questions, take the discussion in another direction. We don't care. We would love to talk to you. So to do that, all you've got to do is to hit on your little hand icon down the bottom, raise your hand, and that will let us know that you've got something that you'd like to say. Even if you just want to say hello, we would love you to say hello. The other thing too is if you're a little bit nervy about saying something live on Clubhouse, there is the little back channel there as well where you can type in questions or comments or things like that. That's the little kite or paper plane little signal there beside the bottom of your screen on your phone. So you can use that as well. We'll try to keep an eye on things as best we can, but if we don't get to you during the chat, we certainly can do it afterwards. All right, Kyelie, how to get the most out of your team. And I love how you've started us off there. First child, huh? Eldest. Aren't we always? Fabulous. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm. Yes, absolutely, Kylie. You are right, and I love my oddball stats and things that I do come up with. I pull them out of goodness knows anywhere. But you are right, and I think what that teaches us, and even something as simple as hold your brother's hand, or make sure you look after your sister. Keep an eye on them. What that's teaching you is responsibility. And as a leader, I think, that's one of the key things. It's not about us, it's about the responsibility of others. And so I think that's instilled in firstborns, your eldest children, right from that, very young age. So I think that's where some of it comes from. But, again, you hit on another very cool word, which is skill. Leadership is a skill. It can be learned and mastered like anything else. And so I think that's the thing. And I talk about leadership a lot when I talk about introvert and extrovert as well. And often, where people misuse the terms introvert and extrovert, and they use them in a way that I can't lead, I'm an introvert, or I'm a natural leader, I'm an extrovert. Well, that's not the case. Leadership is a skill. It's not something that's necessarily in our DNA. It doesn't matter. And whether it is, and you come by some of these traits a little more naturally than others, or have been skilled in them as perhaps an eldest child, does not mean that you don't have to work on them or cannot improve them. So, I think there's always just a lot of work to be done. So there's hope for us all, Kylie. Yahoo! Excellent. Yeah. Yes. Mm, yes. Yes, absolutely. And I think this also leads into, and we'll break down a lot of this as well, but this also leads into culture, team culture, firm culture, all of that. And, culture isn't just another word for our team's happiness. That's not what it's about. Nor does it mean that, you've got a ping pong table in the kitchen or the office somewhere, or that you necessarily finish early on a Friday. Culture is so much more than that. It runs a lot deeper. And so, we might sort of look into that as well as we're going through this conversation, because your firm's culture is also really important. And if you are stepping up or are part of the leadership team already, then that's something you've got to consider and also are responsible for. So how do we go about it? I think a place to start, Kylie, might be the right people in the right jobs. What do you think? Yes. Yes. Is that where that comes from? That's a Macca's thing. Oh. Love it. Got it. Yes, yes. Or them, right? Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I do too. Mhm. Yes, correct. Yes. 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 Mhm. Yes. Yes, just do it now. Mm, mm, mm. Yes. 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 Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. And, it really is about setting everybody up for success. And we often see that same situation happen when you go from, let's say, a senior accountant working, doing all that work, and then it's like all of a sudden you got this promotion to manager. And, there's that disconnect within that as well. It's like, wow, now I've got all these people. Don't I just sit here and do work? That's all I know. So how do Yes, exactly. Now you've hit on another very important word, which is want. If we're not correct, if we're not talking to our people, how do we know what they want? And if we're not making it safe enough for them to be open and honest with us, then we still don't know what they want, even though they might say, yes, yes, that's what I want. It's like, are you really telling me the truth, or have we got, go back to that word, culture, that makes it safe enough to speak openly? So I think, that's really important as well. But I am super big on the organizational chart and the planning. Thank you. You led me down that path without me having to say it myself. But all of this does come into planning. And, next week we're going to be talking about taking a business outlook around what you're doing in accounting. And that's a big part of it. This is going to take some time. Sit down and plan it. Look at who you've got and then have some conversations. I think when I'm working with accountants, what I see a lot of is an aversion to having a conversation when I don't know all the answers. So I don't know if I want to have this person in as a possible manager, then maybe as a director in the future or a partner in the firm. What if I talk to them about that and that's what they want, and I don't know if I want that? That's okay. None of these conversations are set in stone, and provided you frame them that way, it's just a conversation that we're talking about things. So you don't have to have all the answers, and it is more harmful to not have the conversation because you're worried about what all the steps are and what all the answers are, than it is to just have an open, free flowing conversation that you don't have the answers and you're not promising anything. What do you take from that, Kylie? Have you sort of had those conversations before? Yeah. Okay. You're direct. Yes. Yeah. Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do. Yes. 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 Mm. This is the world we work in now. Yes. Mm. Mm. Yes. 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 Mm. 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 Yeah, it's really important. Yes. Yes. Yes, or I don't trust Kylie, or I don't, I'm not sure. And then they can make decisions on the fly that are somewhat flawed because they don't have that information. So that's where that danger of not having conversations comes into play. You're exactly right. Yes. Okay, let's do that. Yes. 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 I hate open door policies. I don't think they work for accounting. That's a very strong word. That's a very strong word. That's not true. I think it comes back to, and I take on board what you said as well. It's around how you define it, okay, and how you police it. So I dislike greatly an all in open door policy where anyone can walk into your office or they're given that illusion that you are available to them at all times. That's what I don't like. Yeah. Yes. 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 No. If Correct. If you are absolutely talking about this concept of psychological safety, being able to say anything when you need to say it, then if that's what open door means to you, fully support it. Absolutely. Yeah. Mm, yes. Yes. You can tell though, right? You're in tune enough to be able to tell whether it's something that you should deal with now. Is it a work question, or is it something that they've sort of been, I really need to talk to you, there's something going on. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. 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 Very good point. Yeah. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I like that what you brought up this, it has to be safe for both sides. That's really important, because these conversations are hard. And you're right, instinctually, we do shy away from them. One, from a problem solving aspect, because we think we've got to have all the answers, because that's the way we roll. The other is that they are not fun, and they may be a little controversial, or they may involve a little bit of conflict. And, this also comes about, we're talking about staff management, people management here, but this also comes about with innovation as well. If we're trying something new, this concept of failing, is not fun. But there's something that I've seen just recently too, is called intelligent failures. If you're not failing, you're not learning. And, they're not fun. It is not fun to fail. It is not fun to have these hard conversations, but they are things that we do need to do, particularly as a leader, and if we're stepping into those roles. So super, super important. And if anybody would like to read anything more about that concept of psychological safety, I have just read an amazing book called The Fearless Organization. You can just Google that, and it's a great book. I got so much out of it. And one more concept was the concept of a leader being able to say, I don't know. That also creates safety around communication. It's okay to fail. It's okay to just be you, to just say whatever you need to say, and nobody's going to judge you or look down on you or any of those things. So creating that for you as the leader and for your team will allow this open conversation to flow on a regular basis, which is super, super important. So, you go back to your organizational plan, you look at what you've got. If you've got some open conversation, have some chats about where people want to be, where they see themselves. Start the conversation, because if you never start it, you'll never know, because sometimes these things they morph and they change. And, when you first introduce a concept to somebody and say, Jimmy, I see you as a potential director in this firm. I think you can go a long way. And Jimmy goes, oh, no, wow, I don't want that. That's not for me. And the conversation is more around, well, let's just think about it. It's nothing set in stone. Who knows that in 3 months' time, Jimmy comes back and says, I've been thinking about that. Maybe I do. What's the path look like then? What's the training that I need to do? How do we resource this? How do we take another step towards that? If you never started that conversation and got a big maybe shovel from Jimmy in the first place, you would have never known. And never gotten there. Have you experienced that either yourself, Kyelie, or with team members? Yeah. Mm. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. 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 Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. Accountability. Yes. Smart lady. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. No, no, and that's exactly right. It's and what you're talking about there, there's a couple of things in that is feedback is one of them. So I think a lot of the things is, as big thinkers, we're very good at processing a lot of problems, and we think we might have even had these conversations sometimes, but you've had the conversation with yourself in your mind. You've not actually said it out loud, and you're like, wait, I forget who I've told, if I've told anybody, you know and that all goes on in our mind. That's just who we are. That's what sets us up perfectly to do what we do. But it does let us down a little bit in our communication. And so we've got to remember that, and to remember to talk out loud, because in no part of this universe are we saying that you are not thankful, that you are not humble, that you don't want to celebrate with people, that you don't look at things and go, oh, wow, well done, Kyelie, that was great. You probably thought it, but never said it. So we've got to be more conscious of saying it. Mm, yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Mm, no. That's not real work-life balance. No. Yeah. Ah, got it. Okay. Fair enough. Yes. 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 Yep. Yeah. You forget. Yeah. So setting yourself up for success is what you're saying there, is have some structure or some tools around you to allow you to be able to just jot down these things, or pop them in a space where they are safe so that you don't forget them, and also take them out of your head and put them somewhere where they are safe, so you're not waking up at 3 a.m. in the morning going, wait, I didn't talk to that person like I was supposed to. So yeah. Yeah. Yes. 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 And too, is that it's not helping anybody. It's not helping you, and it's not helping them, because instinctually it's human behavior that we want to do well for those that we are employed by. We don't set out every day to go, you know what, I'm just going to slack off and just really get up my boss's nose by doing everything wrong. I really feel like doing everything wrong today. It's like, we don't do exactly. Maybe there's an off day somewhere where you've got a particularly toxic or disgruntled employee. Sometimes that might happen. But then again, it's like, well, what's led up to that? But, yeah, this feedback is so important, and to remember to do that, to put structure around that. Another thing, Kylie, I think too, that sometimes we can be so focused on our work and getting things right, because that's important for us. There's a fair amount of perfectionism in accounting, in the way we roll. Uh, we do. It is important that we do things right. Yes. So sometimes I think we can focus a little bit more. We tend to find the negatives easier than we find the positives. So so I think that's what you were saying before too. So if you can find some positives, and remember to talk about them too on a regular basis, even if it's a small thing, then that's very valuable. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Becomes hard. Mm. Mm-hmm. Yes. 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 Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No. Yeah. Okay. Very, very important. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a great idea. Mm. Yes. Pass on the knowledge. Yeah. Pass on the knowledge. Yep. Yep. Yes. Oh, yes. Mm. 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 Silence and funny looks. Mm-hmm. Ho hum. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. All these subscriptions and things, and yes, 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 yeah, yes. Okay. Yes. Mm-hmm. I'll go ask them. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Mm. Yes. 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 Yeah. 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 Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Train them, and there's this great. I don't know who said it, but a business owner or something. They said, "Oh, but training's expensive. But the biggest thing you've got to fear, training's expensive. What if they leave?" And this fellow says, "Well, what if they stay and you haven't trained them?" That's even worse. So you need a trained employee. Kylie, I want to talk about too, because you started to hint around there, is the professional responsibility at an individual level versus the responsibility to train as an employer. Some people might say, well, look, if you're a CPA, you stand up and say, I'm going to undertake my CPD as part of my membership. And then we're starting to find that maybe, some of us might not always do our, PD requirements, as often or as regularly as we should. So you're saying that it should be a balanced sort of approach, but is there more communication around what our professional responsibility should be? Yeah. Shannon, don't listen to this. Yeah. Yep. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes. 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 Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. Woohoo, got you there. Yeah, no, but that is important, Kylie. I mean, we cannot do our jobs and everything that we need to do and be a success. There's hard work in this. We've got to make time for this. So I'm going to just step back a couple of steps, because you were talking about where you need to spend your time then. And I think an industry as a whole, or particularly in, let's say, more traditional firms, the focus is on doing the work. All you've got time for is to do the work. You're so loaded up with work that you have no time to think about anything else. And then you go home, you got to do everything you got to do at home, try to look after your health and get some exercise in and eat well and do all of those things. And if you've got a family, well, that just multiplies by 10. So how do you fit all of this in? But I think the thing is then when you step into management or into leadership roles, it's this acknowledgement of an individual acknowledgement, but also hopefully the leadership team around you acknowledges this as well, that where you spend your time starts to change. So if we're talking about getting the most out of your team, when you step into these roles, then we've got to take time for this communication, because all of this takes time. So we've just been talking about taking time for professional development. The same thing goes for taking time for communicating with your team and having structure around that. You will go from not just being able to devote 85% or 90% of your day to doing work. There will have to be 10 or 20% in there if you've got people that need managing and communicating with. Is that a fair point? Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes, yes, absolutely. And you can't do your work without your people. You're never going to go anywhere, are you? Really, you're going to get stuck. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about is your professional development. So, do you include in there? Obviously, professional development. We can understand there's a lot of technical training as accountants that we need to do. Where do you put, let's call it, the soft skills or human skills type training in that? Do you include that in professional development? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yes. Sure. Yes. Yes. Yeah, yeah. And look, there is so many ways for us to consume professional development now. There's podcasts, there's obviously the discussion groups online, like we are, but there's physical discussion groups as well, or they're probably gone virtual just recently because of everything that's been happening. And Shanna, if you are in a position where you can talk, we'd love your input on this professional development side of things, and where we can get hold of a lot of them. But CPA Australia in particular, that just there's you cannot say that there is not enough professional development out there for you to access, because it is everywhere. Oh, yes, possibly. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. 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 Excellent. Yes. Oh, yay. Hi, Shanna. Oh, oh no, I'm not the moderator at the moment because you opened the room. Can you make me a moderator? I can then do it. You can do it, Kylie. I've got full faith in you. Here we go. All right. Let's see. Shanna, would you just hit your no, I've got it. There we go. It should allow you to come up on stage now, Shanna. There we go. Try that now. Oh my gosh, we're having technological issues this morning, aren't we? Shanna, it is very annoying. We will get you up as soon as we can. I'll keep working on that. And so, yeah, Kylie, the overwhelm. Mm, mm, absolutely. Yeah. Look, Shanna, could you help us out and maybe just put your hand down and pop it up again? I think that might refresh my screen. There we go. I can see. Here she is. Hello. Good, thank you, Shanna. What would you like to tell us about? Yes. Yeah. Excellent. Ah, yes. Member number. Yeah. Ah, nice. Excellent. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so monthly tax updates and my firm, my future. That's what we're going to go looking for. Okay, perfect. Excellent. Yeah, thanks, Shanna. That's excellent. Perfect. All right. So there we are, everybody. Some great topics and free PD coming through from CPA Australia. They're certainly there helping us out with that. But getting the most out of your team, yeah, very important that we've got professional development for them, that we're communicating with our team members, taking the time to communicate with our team members, making sure that we acknowledge that that is part of our work now. I love that you put it that way, Kylie. That is part of your work now when you have people around you, and also setting both yourself and your team members up for success. So, are they trained appropriately? Do they have the resources that they need? Do we have realistic budgets and goals and things in place? You know, again, I think for some of us, we can just go, I want to do everything. But you can't do everything, and there's certainly amount of overwhelm that can come with that. So are we being realistic about what we can achieve or what we're communicating to our team that we want to get done? Right back to the beginning, planning that org chart, looking at who you need. What does the next 5 years look like? You know, where do I want to be in 5 years? So, you know, do you want us to step up if you're an employee, or as a business owner, who's in my team? Where are the gaps? Where perhaps do we need to have some training? Who do I need to be having conversations with? So taking the time to do that is super important as well. Yeah, it has. Oh, you're going to be controversial again. Oh, okay. Oh, yes. I see where you're going. Mm, mm-hmm. Yes. 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 Well, forces them to be even a little more accountable, right, Kylie? You give them these things, and then the responsibility and the accountability goes with it as well. Yes. Yes. To do that. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. 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 Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. Yes, yes. So I think, what you're saying there is really important to not get so stuck in our way, so stuck in tradition. And I know as I was managing a large firm on the Darling Downs, as in my career, I had a director tell me, but you can't give something to one that you can't give to another. That's just not, you can't do that. But you can. And the thing is again, it's providing that structure around what that means, so you don't have to be the same with everybody. I think that's something again in our nature, that we get very stuck in these habits, of just doing same old, same old. It's a low risk profile, that's why we like it. But Kylie, you are right. The competitiveness around staffing these days is, we've got to think differently about this. We've got to look at things differently. What is this going to mean for my business, and how do we go about that? So seriously putting some time and effort into what employees are really looking for, because you're right, you're competing against others that either say they do and do it, or say they do and maybe don't do it so well. But still, that's the first, thing that an employee will see when they're out seeking a job. Another thing I'm very strongly about at the moment too is the employees aren't out there, or not as readily as we would like them. We've got to grow them. We've got to put some effort into training and growing. And so, I see time and time again, an accountant needs a senior accountant or needs an intermediate accountant. Well, are you looking, if you've got the capacity in your firm, to provide graduates some positions, or to take on internships even from high school? I'm very about giving back. And if that's giving back and your firm benefits because that intern or graduate happens to stay on, fabulous. But if they don't, we've given back to the industry as a whole. So I think that's an important thing to consider as well. But that's a whole nother topic as well. So I think we definitely do have another topic that comes up that talks about competing for staff, how to make yourself the employer of choice. So I know that's coming up in the future. It's definitely in my plan. So everybody look out for that if you're interested in that. That will be an absolute cracker. But if anybody's got any last questions, please raise your hand and let us know, because we are very close to time. And of course, I want to tell you about next week. So next week, Wednesday, 23rd of Feb, 7 a.m, we'll be back here in Clubhouse. And Kylie and I will be talking about looking towards tomorrow, developing a business outlook. So what does that mean? So looking forward, making sure you're getting the most out of your business, and not just taking that very much work approach with clients. So all of these topics feed into each other, from delegation last week into getting the most out of your team today, and then of course developing a business outlook. So we would love to see you all join us again next week. And if you have any questions that not comfortable saying them here in this space, you can hook up with Kylie and I on LinkedIn, on our socials, our emails. Google us, you'll find our websites, and we're all quite readily contactable, aren't we, Kylie, if someone wants to pose a question outside of the group. There, there is, yes, me too. Yes. So Shanna, you're on our leaderboard. You're right at the top on the leaderboard. Well done, you. Sure, I reckon I can. I will go find them. I will go and do my research. Thank you for giving me homework, Kyelie Baxter. Oh my goodness, we've taught you too well. All right. No, I think you've got that down pat. That's something that comes instinctively to you, being that eldest child. All right. Thank you once again, Kylie. Enjoyable as always. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day, and we look forward to talking to you next Wednesday. See you soon.